640 millivolts. That is not the output of a laboratory electrochemical cell. That is the output of a lemon battery I built last Tuesday using the correct electrode geometry, the correct metal pairing, and one modification to the standard school experiment that nobody ever mentions. The version most people remember from school produced 60 to 80 millivolts and lit nothing. This version lit an LED, charged a small capacitor, and held output above 500 millivolts for 4 hours and 19 minutes. I tested 6 variations and measured every one. Here are all the numbers. The school lemon battery was never designed to produce a useful result. I want to be clear and direct about that before anything else, because this statement is not cynical. It is accurate, and it matters. The pedagogical goal of the demonstration is to show that an electrochemical cell can be constructed from simple household materials and that it produces a measurable voltage. The demonstration achieves that goal. A galvanometer needle deflects. The principle is illustrated. The experiment succeeds at its stated purpose. What the demonstration deliberately avoids is the question of how to make it actually work, because that question is not part of the curriculum, and the answer requires more time and specificity than a single classroom session allows. I found that answer in academic papers published between 1938 and 2021. Then I built 6 variations and measured each one. None of this research belongs to me. I am not going to pretend I developed novel electrochemistry. The Journal of Chemical Education published studies on optimized galvanic cell configurations using citrus fruit electrolytes beginning in 1938, with subsequent papers in 1972 and 1989 documenting the effect of electrode surface area, metal purity, and contact geometry on cell voltage and current output. Researchers at the University of São Paulo published a paper in 2012 in the journal Química Nova, comparing electrode material combinations in citric acid electrolytes and documenting output figures significantly above the standard school demonstration. A 2021 paper in the International Journal of Electrochemical Science tested magnesium-copper pairings in citrus electrolytes and found output voltages exceeding 1 volt per cell in optimized configurations. The information exists and is publicly accessible. Nobody brought it out of the journals and into a garage until now. So let me show you the 6 variations I tested and what each one produced. You already know the basic principle from school, even if you have not thought about it in years. 2 different metals in an acidic solution produce a voltage between them because the metals have different tendencies to give up electrons. The metal that gives up electrons more easily becomes the negative terminal. The metal that holds electrons more tightly becomes the positive terminal. The acid provides the ionic pathway that completes the circuit. The key variables that determine how much voltage and current you get are the metal pairing, the electrode surface area in contact with the electrolyte, and the concentration and type of acid in the fruit. Here is the science that the school version never gets to. The voltage between 2 metals in an electrolyte is determined by their separation on the galvanic series, a ranking of metals by their electrochemical potential. The standard school experiment uses a copper penny and a zinc-coated nail. The separation between copper and zinc on the galvanic series is approximately 1.1 volts in ideal conditions. However, school pennies minted after 1982 are 97.5% zinc with a thin copper coating. The effective copper surface area participating in the reaction is the thin outer layer only, dramatically limiting the actual copper electrode performance. Think of it like trying to drive with only the paint on your car as the structural material. The label says copper, but the electrochemistry sees mostly zinc. You are building a zinc-zinc cell with a copper label, and the output reflects that accurately. Here is the part that gets me every time. The highest output I measured in any of my 6 test configurations used an electrode pairing that is not copper and zinc at all. Magnesium ribbon and copper sheet in lemon juice produced 712 millivolts at 104 microamps in my test cell. Magnesium sits further from copper on the galvanic series than zinc does, producing a larger voltage differential. Pure magnesium ribbon costs about $8 for a roll sufficient for dozens of experiments. 1 roll, $8. more than double the voltage of the standard school demonstration from a single material substitution. Here is what I tested across 6 configurations and what each produced. And I want to be honest with you. This is genuinely the complete data set, with no cherry-picked results removed.
Configuration 1 was the standard school version. Post-1982 penny plus galvanized nail in 1 lemon. Average output across 3 test runs. 68 millivolts, 11 microamps. This is the baseline. This is what most people remember and conclude represents the ceiling of lemon battery performance. Configuration 2 replaced the penny with a strip of pure copper sheet 1 inch by 2 inches.
Maintaining the galvanized zinc nail. Average output, 182 millivolts, 31 microamps, nearly 3 times the voltage from one material change. The penny is the problem in the standard experiment, not the lemon. Configuration 3 used pure copper sheet and pure zinc strip instead of galvanized nail. Average output, 227 millivolts, 38 microamps. Modest improvement over configuration 2, confirming that galvanized zinc performs adequately because the zinc coating is the active material regardless of what the base metal is. Configuration 4 used pure copper sheet and magnesium ribbon as the electrode pair. Average output, 591 millivolts, 89 microamps. This is where the numbers change character entirely, from 200 to nearly 600 millivolts from one substitution. Here is where most people ruin the experiment design. They test one variable at a time and stop when they find a winner, without testing whether electrode surface area provides additional gains. Configuration 4 used 1 inch by 2 inch electrodes. Configuration 5 used the same magnesium-copper pairing with 3 inch by 3 inch electrodes inserted to maximum depth in a large lemon. Configuration 5. Average output, 640 millivolts, 104 microamps. The larger electrode surface area produced meaningful current improvement, while voltage improved modestly. This is the configuration that lit the LED. Configuration 6 added a second lemon in series with configuration 5. Average output, 1,261 millivolts, 97 microamps. Over 1 volt from 2 lemons and the correct electrode pairing, sufficient to charge a small capacitor continuously over several hours. Here is the second place where most people ruin the replication. They insert the electrodes too close together in the fruit. The electrodes must be separated enough that they do not touch internally through the fruit pulp, which would cause a short circuit, but close enough to share the same electrolyte volume. Optimal separation in a standard lemon is approximately 1.5 to 2 inches between electrode surfaces. Too close produces erratic readings from internal shorting. Too far apart increases internal resistance and reduces current. Feel the surface of your magnesium ribbon electrode after 30 minutes in the lemon electrolyte. The surface should feel slightly rough and pitted, where the magnesium is actively dissolving into the electrolyte, releasing electrons into the external circuit. That surface change is the galvanic reaction made visible and tactile. The ribbon is not being destroyed quickly, but it is actively participating in the chemistry. Fresh magnesium feels smooth and slightly metallic. Reacting magnesium feels matte and slightly powdery on the surface. That texture difference tells you the cell is working. For those of you who want to take what this series of energy experiments has documented and build it into a complete off-grid power system, the Energy Revolution system connects every method on this channel into a single integrated plan. You will see a QR code in the bottom right corner of your screen right now. Point your phone camera at it, and it will take you directly there. It goes beyond individual experiments into the architecture of a complete property energy system. At 1 hour of operation with the optimized 6 configuration in series, the capacitor bank is measurably charged, and the LED circuit functions on burst discharge. At 2 hours, voltage has declined to approximately 580 millivolts per cell, as the citric acid concentration drops slightly near the electrode surfaces. At 4 hours, voltage has stabilized at a lower level as the reaction finds its steady state. At 4 hours and 19 minutes in my specific test run, the output dropped below the LED threshold and the demonstration concluded. while the school version produces enough voltage to deflect a meter needle and nothing else. The optimized 6 configuration produces enough to illuminate a circuit, charge a small capacitor, and demonstrate that galvanic chemistry is a legitimate, accessible, buildable energy source when approached with correct electrode materials and geometry. This is not really about lemon batteries or school experiments. It is about the specific frustration of being shown a principle without being shown what the principle can actually do when taken seriously. About the gap between a curriculum demonstration and a real electrochemical result. About rebuilding something you were shown as a child and discovering that the version you were shown was the lowest performing version that exists. Start with configuration 2. Replace the penny with a strip of pure copper sheet. Keep everything else identical to what you remember from school. Measure the voltage before and after. The number will be approximately 2.5 times higher than what your teacher showed you, from a single material change that costs $3. The magnesium ribbon, pure copper sheet, and precision multimeter used in this test are linked in the description and the first pinned comment. If this lemon battery rebuild changed the way you think about what you learned in a classroom, please subscribe and like the channel. We are unearthing practical wisdom that the modern world has tried to bury. Build the version they did not show you. The next treasure of forgotten knowledge will be revealed soon.